Here are 3 things I've learned as an American now splitting his time between the US and Canada. I've been living in Montreal for a little over 3 years now, and there's definitely some things that I've learned since moving to Canada. So number 1, the question, where are you from, means something very different in Canada. In Canada, most Black people who live here are either immigrants themselves or the child or grandchild of immigrants. And so when people in Canada ask you, where are you from, and basically you're not white, then that pretty much means from what country did you or your family immigrate from? And so when people ask me that question, they expect something like Nigeria or Jamaica or some kind of either African or Caribbean country for the most part. But because I'm from the States and I'm African American and my Blackness is a result of the transatlantic slave trade, I can't really answer that question with any kind of certainty. And it's always an uncomfortable conversation when I have to say, oh, well, I don't really know where my family is from, but African American and slavery and all that. But I get this from people of every race and nationality. So I'm not offended by it. It's just the way that Canada is structured, basically. It is what it is. Second is customs. Dear God, I've had to become intensely familiar with just customs and duties and just not knowing if when I buy stuff, I'm gonna get charged at the door or not. It's really, really weird. Living in the US for my whole life, it just was not something that I ever had to deal with or think about because we had the de minimis rule where if it was less than $800, there weren't customs fees and it just wasn't a big deal. Not the case here. And when I'm buying something, I'm usually not surprised when I get hit with oh, you need to pay customs, whatever. As a content creator and brands say, oh yeah, we can send stuff to Canada, but they don't make sure that they've prepaid the customs and duty stuff. It's really annoying when I'm supposed to be getting a PR package from a brand and they're like, oh, by the way, you have to pay $70 on this package. And it's gotten to a point where I have started to refuse packages because I don't know that packages are coming. I'm just sorry, I'm refusing this package, and I just tell the brand and they can deal with it themselves. And the last thing is very specific to Quebec and Montreal where I live. The weird animosity / tension between Francophones and Anglophones here. Now, to be clear, I am not from here. And I know that there is a lot of history and cultural stuff behind the tension. But there's very weird things on both sides of the coin. So Quebec is a Francophone province, and because of this, Quebec has a lot of laws and regulations around the protecting of the French. There are literally language police who will look at signs in shop windows. Every government site will have basically a warning if you change the language from French to English. They are really just we're not having this. Now, Montreal is very much bilingual city. You can get by with both. I am learning French because I do want to more easily go to events and things and not just be confused the whole time. So I'm very much trying to ingratiate myself, but lots of intense pushback from the government. But at the same time, if you're from rural Quebec and you only speak French and you go to anywhere else in Canada, which is on paper a bilingual country, most of the time you aren't able to be served in French. And there are even some very high profile executives of big Canadian companies who don't speak French. What I'm sure makes people from Quebec feel like they are just completely left out of the conversation. It's definitely a weird feeling as a primarily Anglophone now living in Montreal. With all that being said, I do love Canada. I absolutely love living here and I wouldn't change it for the world. Merci et bonne journée.